007 First Light has some of the best character casting in any Bond game, period. And let's be honest, it wouldn't be a James Bond story without the Bond girls. So today, we're ranking every Bond girl in 007 First Light to see who stands above the rest. We have a character who isn't even really a Bond girl. Let's be honest, she's a full-on Bond stalker. Most players probably know her, the woman in red, and she's just a walking, talking red flag. You first spot her during the club mission, looking absolutely stunning at the bar. Classic Bond setup, right? Except she's literally standing there with a guy who is presumably buying her drinks while shamelessly flirting with you. Like, okay, you don't owe your boyfriend anything if the relationship is dead, but hitting on a total stranger right in front of his face, that is just cold. Naturally, the douchebag boyfriend gets jealous, follows Bond into the men's room, and a massive brawl breaks out. After you inevitably beat him to a pulp, what does Vicky do? She just laughs it off, and then she completely agrees to hook up with you half an hour later. She bursts into the room and completely loses her mind at you for talking to another woman. The double standard here is genuinely unhinged. Girl, you had a boyfriend when you agreed to meet up with Bond 30 minutes ago. You cannot be throwing tantrums about loyalty. I mean, look, she's gorgeous, and the whole situation adds a pretty funny, chaotic layer to the nightclub level. But she is pure toxic energy. On the surface, she presents as Charlotte Roth, an agent of France's Foreign Intelligence Service. She is a freelance spy and the game's femme fatale, and crucially, she is written as the more experienced operator in the room. When she and Bond first cross paths, she is further along the spy game than this rookie 007. Isla is heavily Vesper Lind coded, like to the point where you almost know she's gonna break your heart the second she walks into the room. She's already deep in the espionage business. She becomes the primary love interest, and she literally is the one who teaches a rookie Bond how to order his signature vodka martini. Even still, she pulls off this incredible, elusive Catwoman routine so well that both James and the player are just down bad for her anyway. She gives off massive Fiona Volpe from Thunderball energy. You know she's dangerous? Bond knows she's dangerous, but the thrill of the chase is just too good to pass up. We're told she works for someone operating entirely in the shadows. It really makes you wonder why she actually betrayed Bond. Was she being blackmailed by Spectre just like Vesper? Is this shadow organization threatening her family or someone else she cares about? We don't have all the answers yet, but it perfectly sets up her return for the sequel. Look, I think we can all agree that Naomi Harris basically perfected the role of Moneypenny in the Daniel Craig movies. And it's pretty obvious that First Light took heavy inspiration from her. The game actually gives her way more to do and arguably better character development than she ever got in the films. The voice actress absolutely crushed it. What I really love about this version of Moneypenny is just how grounded she is. If you look at Isola or Lorca, they are designed to look like these unattainable 1010 supermodels, but Moneypenny just has this incredibly natural, realistic beauty. You completely believe she's a real person who just happens to work in this high-stakes intelligence office, and her dynamic with Bond is flawless. They have massive chemistry. Also, we have to talk about the funniest moment in the entire game, when Bond is about to start hooking up with the doctor, and Moneypenny just desperately goes, "The audio's still on, James," before immediately dipping to go make a cup of tea until he's done. My one and only tiny gripe with her character arc is how they handled the very end of the game. I really wish they had shown her fully healthy in the aftermath. Obviously we know they wouldn't just let her die off screen, especially with Q right there helping out, but it just felt like we deserved a proper wrap-up scene with her after everything they went through. Cressida fits perfectly into that co-worker spy archetype, but she brings a fascinating background to the table. As the daughter of Stephen Bright, the UK's foreign secretary, she comes from a wealthy, politically powerful family with heavy hints of British nobility. Because she acts as both a peer and a recruiter, effectively serving as a gatekeeper, her judgment of Bond carries real weight. The two develop a strong relationship, growing close over roughly the first 3 chapters, which provides one of the earliest emotional through lines for this new James. That deep connection makes the fallout of Monroe's death so incredibly heartbreaking. Both Bond and Cressida are absolutely devastated by the loss, and we see Bond do what he does best. He completely shuts down and emotionally isolates himself. It perfectly illustrates that classic tragic James Bond trait where he just cannot hold on to friends or maintain contact when trauma hits. But the writers gave us one glimmer of hope. If you explore the apartment, you can find a letter from her where she explicitly states she doesn't blame Bond for what happened, ending it simply with "Don't be a stranger." Even though Bond pushes her away, I refuse to believe her story is over. She has totally served her initial purpose, but the groundwork is heavily laid for her return. She is undeniably gorgeous, serves as the true emotional anchor of the game, and has a genuinely fantastic character arc. I know we just talked about Cressida and we have nothing but respect for Monroe's girl, but when it comes down to the most impactful, memorable Bond girl of 007 First Light, there is only one correct answer from me: Theresa Lorca. Let's just get the obvious out of the way right now. She is ungodly hot. She gives off massive Caterina Marino from Casino Royale energy. Theresa perfectly fills that classic civilian scientist archetype. She actually gives me Heavy Domino from Thunderball vibes. She has absolutely zero connection to the dark world of espionage, but she gets completely roped into the villain's grand plan. She's a brilliant geneticist from Portugal who is developing this revolutionary CO2-absorbing algae. That makes her a massively valuable asset that every criminal organization, corporation, and government wants to control. I genuinely wish Theresa had gotten more screen time, and I would have been so satisfied just seeing a few more scenes of her going back and forth with James.